What's up? It's your girl Valish J, aka the Neighborhood Publicist, reporting for Urban Magazine, and I am here with Frequency, and she just did her thing at the Trust Black Women Liberation Cipher here at Essence Fest 2025, and we just want to talk to you. How did you get your start doing spoken word?
I actually started back in high school. I was like the late bloomer of the group. And so I seen all my friends do it. They had a lot of, I saw how I really built them up. And I was like, I think there's a story inside of me. And it turned out to be. And it came with like a whole different personhood that it helped birth from the page to the stage. And then my friends gave me the name Frequency because we were trying to brainstorm a name. And somebody said, I just like to tune into the pitch of what you're saying.
I was like, yeah, you definitely give me like you focus on people's vibrations and their energy. So Frequency definitely fits your whole vibe.
They were like, I like the frequency of your voice. And we was all like, what? So yeah, been Frequency since I was about 17 years old.
Okay, so when you got involved with Sister Song, what made you want to partner with this cause to be here at Essence Fest and participate in an event like this?
I've worked in reproductive justice from 2015 to 2019. I ran a youth program at Women with a Vision called Young Women with a Vision, which is like a rites of passage social justice program here in the city. And so we were in other partnerships, Trust Black Women with Sister Song, got to know Monica and the whole team. And I've always really appreciated Monica's intentional inclusion of arts and culture in these kinds of spaces. And so I seen her at an event recently and saw me doing my thing, and we were like, yeah, let's do it for Essence. Make sure that we bring in the same energy in a space that's already intentionally here to celebrate Black women.
Okay, so what was your favorite piece you did tonight? Like, what did you feel like was your best one?
I've really tried to be intentional in the last couple of years to do that final piece. To really be trying to push people past the bounds of their imagination at this moment, because I think we're just in a time where we literally have to, like, this is clearly unsustainable, you know what I mean? But there's also like an intentional deficit of imagination, people's ability to imagine otherwise. And I know when people say imagination, sometimes they're like, oh, like I imagined it. And I'm talking about like, no, like somebody, in order to get out of slavery, somebody had to imagine that Black people were not enslaved and then follow that vision, you know what I mean, until it was like compounded enough to actually be our reality. Because at the end of the day, we live in a collectively agreed upon reality, right? So there's a piece in the poem that talks about we made this agreement here, which means we can unmake it just as easily, but also it has to be just as intentionally. And I think we don't think of on everyday level how much we're agreeing and consenting to the things that are happening around us because we're intentionally made to feel so powerless.
You just reminded me of the book, The Four Agreements, of thinking like how, those four agreements that you make every day, of how that makes you show up in the world,
right?
Of just like not taking things personal, being intentional with your words and your thoughts, right? Thinking about community and your, like you said, your effect on the collective. We're all, whether we think about it, we're all connected, right? And all our decisions affect each other. So with that being said, we just had kind of, I guess, a gut-wrenching blow to a lot of people here in this country with the Big Beautiful Bill passing. Right. And so what do you think it means to have a moment like this at Essence Festival with the people that Essence Fest celebrates in these times?
I think in general, we're just living in like the utmost of contradictory times. Like it's on some real, and people say this all the time, like, some Hunger Games stuff, but it's like there's a real dissonance that happens if you're tuned in to the reality of this moment. And then also remembering that like the mundane is also what matters. During every war, during every struggle for liberation, for freedom, there was always the everyday that people had to tend to and manage. And so when I specifically think about, the spaces that Sister Song tries to curate, it's spaces that are supposed to be able to help us sustain in the longer fight, and knowing that like we're not machines or robots, so we can't actually be fighting at all times. That would actually be a detriment to our personal health, and it's already designed to not, to take us down. So in some ways, instead of doing the work of the state for the state by wearing yourself down, we intentionally curate spaces like this that are able to rejuvenate people and prepare them to continue on an everyday level to resist.
That was a great answer, and I just have one last question for you. You mentioned arts and culture earlier and how important that is to the fight for freedom. Yeah. So, as an artist, what are you doing to get the younger generation to still have hope and want to create arts and culture? Because I know when I talk to them, they often tell me they feel hopeless and like it's no point for them to create. So what advice would you give to them that feel like that?
Well, there's the piece that I did today, too. The poem is a protest one, where I really try to let people know, like, if you can be out in the streets at any and at all times, right? And again, back to this everyday living things, we can also integrate revolutionary actions into the everyday things that we do. So if you are stuck in a certain place or position, that doesn't mean you can't be a wrench in the place that you've been assigned to. So I really try to tell not just young people, but anybody who might be new at world building to just look at where they are and the places that they potentially have impact and start from there, because we got to start from somewhere. And then also these small actions, they compound and they combine into, again, our collective reality. So if everybody doing their part,
I said it all the time.
you know what I'm saying?
Everybody, you can't do everything, but you can do something.
Right.
All right.
And
so
not you can do something. You gotta do
you
something.
gotta do
Just
something.
to be clear,
Right.
it's not like you
gotta
can.
do
It's
something.
not
We
really
don't have
a
an option
choice.
at this point. Everybody got to do something else.
I'm just saying. Yes.
But Frequency, where can the people find you and keep up with you? Like, do you do these different showcases in different spaces? Where we can see you
I'm
at?
performing everywhere. I do hosting, do different workshops when I'm on the road traveling. You can keep up with me. Just go to Frequency Speaks on all social media. Frequency spelled with 2 E's, like FREE, like freedom. And yeah, I got a book coming out this fall. So if you go onto my website, find me on social media, you can find info on that.
Yes, to that book, ma'am. I'll make sure I get it.
Indeed.
All right. Thank you so much. I
Thank
appreciate you.
Thank y'all.